Libertarian meetings are a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun for the reasons Jim was saying, because it's decentralized. Everybody's got a voice. Anybody can propose anything. And the whole "we won't fly" thing just was an off-the-wall suggestion at a Montgomery meeting that Jim made, and it got out of hand on an international scale. I just want to embellish a couple of the statements, not embellish, to build upon some of the statements that Jim made about the electoral success of the party. In 1997, we started a campaign, and we ended up that year with 12 elected libertarians. And at the time, that was the most elected libertarians in any county in the country, and it was more than all but 2 states. And that was in Montgomery County.
Yeah.
One of the libertarians we elected that year, Obie Mild, is still serving in partisan public office today. 16 years she's been serving, and I just heard from her the other day, she's running for re-election. She's aiming for 20. The longest serving libertarian in Pennsylvania is here in Montgomery County, in Norristown. Obie Mild, judge of elections, Norristown. Good job. Another one, to be a member of the Montgomery County Libertarian Party, it's pretty easy. Show up to the meetings. We generally hold libertarian principles. Not every meeting, just occasionally. So we have a lot of people who just drop in. Mike Salvi, he's a member of the Montco Libertarians. Richard Schwartz, where you're from, Delaware. I don't know where you live these days. Philadelphia. It doesn't matter. Steve, you're in Bucks County these days. We've got, where's Ed? Ed came
Northampton.
in. Northampton County. These people are all Montgomery County Libertarians. It's not a location, it's an approach. As Jim said, it's an approach to almost to living, the way you come at it. And one other thing I wanted to mention about the TSA, I was scared half to death. When it was just Jim and I, because they were looking at me and I had the camera. And they're saying, well, what are you taking pictures of? It's like, I just back away. I was worried. But when we set up the big rally at Philadelphia International on the big day, I always call the police. Whenever I have a rally, I call, I said, "Hi, my name is Ken Krawczyk. This is a courtesy call to let you know we're going to be having a rally at Philadelphia International on Thanksgiving Eve, started at 7 o'clock at Terminal B." And they transferred me right up to the captain, head of civil affairs, and he said, "Good, thank you. You won't have any problem." I said, "Well, maybe we should get together someplace there in case we run into some problems." He says, "I told you, there will be no problems." And there wasn't. The Philadelphia police were very supportive. I got the guy's card in my wallet. Same thing when George Donnelly was abducted by the federal court system in Allentown. "Hi, this is Ken Krawczyk. We're going to be doing just a courtesy call to let you know we're going to be doing a rally for George." "Fine. Here's my cell phone number. Call me if you have a problem." These are the kind of results we get. These are the sorts of things we do. And I'll tell you, sometimes it still scares me half to death. What you need to do is approach the problem and say, how can I solve this? How can I solve this without holding a gun to somebody's head? How can I solve this using libertarian principles? So far in our gathering today, we've been talking about having fun with liberty. All sorts of ways. The Montgomery County way of doing it, the TFP way of doing it, the media way of doing it. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to start talking about actual libertarian solutions. These are things that we've done, different members of Montgomery County and beyond have done, using libertarian principles in action. And our first speaker along those lines is going to be none other than the chairman of Montgomery County Libertarians. He has been now, I think, for 3 years, is it? He's got a tremendous amount of experience, a tremendous number of accomplishments under his belt. And Lou, I'm sorry that I didn't bring the list. We had the list at our holiday party of everything that we accomplished last year. And it was a list of about 10, 15 things long, including some of the things Jim mentioned, a lot of others, a lot of public appearances, some of the videos that Darren Wolf has done. You got what, over 20,000 hits on that one video? 22,000 and growing.
Yeah.
These are libertarian solutions. So our next our next speaker, as I said, he's the chair of Montgomery County. He is currently running for chair of the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania. He's one of our candidates. He's a Toastmaster, which I consider to be a very important item, an Advanced Communicator Silver. And he's going to be, a lot of other Toastmasters out there. And he's going to be talking to us today about specific libertarian solutions Please join me in welcoming the one, the only, the chairman of Montgomery County, Steve Scheetz. You should be closer to the front of the room. You're a Toastmaster, you know better than that.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you all for joining us here today, and thank you for all you people who are out there watching on the stream. One of the problems that libertarians have is trying to get people to understand what a libertarian will do, given the fact that they would be in office or handling a situation. And you can talk about libertarian solutions to people all day long. And I wonder, well, have you done anything like this? Have you made any inroads? Have you done any work to solve any problems? Well, yeah, actually, we have. And this is one of those things, and this goes to the point of the entire speech here. What I'd like to do is encourage and empower all of you who are seeking public office, all of you who are libertarians, all of you who are running libertarian organizations. Follow the lead of some of the counties that are here in Pennsylvania. York County, for example, has made tremendous inroads in fighting for the cause of freedom. Just recently, they went to a board meeting and demanded that they be allowed to open carry in said board meeting. Now, many people here will just sit there and laugh. Yeah, that's just York County being York County.
Woo! Yeah!
Well, guess what? York County won.
Yeah.
Libertarian solutions work. Ronnie Harper, a gentleman out in Lancaster County, he does something that, well, Ken would be actually nervous to try and do. When Ken wandered over, he was holding the camera, and he was just looking around at the airport, videotaping the scene. Ronnie Harper drives around in his free time. He drives around and looks for people pulled over by state police. When he finds these people pulled over by state police, he pulls in behind the state policeman, pulls out his camera, and videotapes the scene. His job, as he views it, is to make sure people's rights are being observed. Now, I listened to Ronnie Harper talk about this before, and the one story that he told that really just got to me was when a state trooper said, well, what are you doing here, man? He said, well, I'm here, I'm videotaping, I'm making sure that you're following and observing this person's rights. State troopers stood there for a minute and thought about it. Well, how am I doing? So far, so good. These are things that we can do. Okay, you might be nervous filming police, you might be nervous filming at airports, but these are things that need to be done because people's rights are at risk every day. Now, when I was working on different projects, I found a problem. It's very easy to find problems. In Abington, we found a problem, the land grab deal. Jim talked about how we come up with the agendas. And yeah, I've been making agendas for years on the Libertarian County Committee. And one of the things on the agenda that's always there is anything else. And it was under the heading, anything else, that the Abington land grab came about. We identified a problem and we mobilized people from all over to come down and be at Abington to help these people and solve this problem. The problem being caused by government theft of property. Like I said, problems are not hard to find. In my community, one of the problems that we had was a tree. It's just simple, a tree. This little tree was sitting in the middle of the roadway where you're about to make a turn into oncoming traffic. Well, the tree being there during the day, you can't see the oncoming traffic. There was an accident at that particular intersection. I wandered over with my machete and hacked down said tree. No more problem. Problem solved. There are loads of problems that you can find. How many people here can identify readily at least 5 problems in their own community? Come on, raise your hands, let's see. All right. How many people How many people see these problems and have seen people ask politicians for solutions? Now, are those problems still there?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Politicians don't solve problems. People solve problems. In Norristown, this is back in 2009, in the township of Norristown, there was a woman who was attacked using a multi-use trail on her bicycle. And this is a problem that people have been addressing for years, people being attacked in this particular area. It was kind of a skeezy area, there was drugs, all kinds of problems with this particular area. We went to the county board, and the county board, seeing 40 people coming up and asking, what are you going to do about this problem? We've been talking about it for years. People are being attacked down here. People aren't safe using this trail, this public multi-use trail. They hemmed, they hauled. They had absolutely no idea how to solve this problem. So what I did, I got together a group of people, and 50 of us wandered down to this section. It was maybe about a quarter mile long on this trail. And the 50 of us got out there. I got out there. I was in all my glory. I had 2 machetes. I had one in either hand. I looked like Jason from Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Police drove by, looked at me, and they just shook their heads and kept driving. But we hacked down all the forestation around the area, all the overgrown weeds where these people were hiding. We cleaned up the trash. We got people from the county Parks Commission, to donate their time. They came out and helped us. We got some people to donate money for a trash dumpster. We threw out all the trash. We got people to donate time and resources to landscape the property after we were done cleaning up. At the end of the day, we had this quarter-mile stretch with flowers, bushes, a couple trees. It looks like a park. And it was all done at no cost to the taxpayers. The people have not been being attacked ever since. And it's because these people, these would-be attackers, don't have any place to hide. Would-be attackers aren't necessarily interested in wandering across 50 yards of open land to the trail to try and attack somebody who's on a bicycle who just simply ride away. No. They want to be up close and personal. So this is something that was done. It was done fairly easily. Microphone is dying. It's done fairly easily, and it was done without any money. If you're running for public office as a libertarian, you can look to the government and say, no, Mr. or Ms. Politician, we got this. Go out to your section, go out to your community, go out to your district, the district you're running in, and find these problems. They're not hard to find. And fix them. Now, fixing them does sound a little bit simple, doesn't it? But that's why you have these resources, and that's why we're here today. We have 2 counties represented here today. We have York and Montgomery County. And we're all here capable of doing an awful lot to help anybody who wants to do something, wants to solve a problem. You need to solve a problem? Come ask us. We'll give you tips. We'll come out and help you. We'll make a party of it. Good God, we will come out. We will bring beer. You can applaud at that. We're going to bring beer. And we're going to have a lot of fun fixing the problem in your area. And at the end of the day, you can make your politicians in your area look like the bumbling buffoons that they are. So with that, I'm just going to ask you real quick. Do you have any questions, anybody? There's got to be some questions.
When you're doing those sorts of cleanups and things like that, taking machetes to trees, don't you get any hassle for permits or permissions? How do you deal with that?
I've always learned that if you have to ask, you deserve to be told no. I've never gotten a permit for any of these things, and generally speaking, nobody seems to give me any hassles. Now, bear in mind, in the case of Norristown, the police did know. The county knew. Everybody knew what was going to happen. But as far as asking for permission to go down, we didn't do that.
Where did you find all these people? Are they like in a... Because they're not libertarians when you went and did this. Who did this with you?
Believe it or not, the bicycle community around the Philadelphia region is huge. I'm not really happy that only 50 people showed up, but the fact that 50 people showed up to do anything on a weekend, when they could be out playing, I took that as a win. Particularly since they had no real concept of what libertarianism was. And to be honest, I wasn't really approaching them as Steve Scheetz, chairman of Montgomery County Libertarians. I was approaching them as Steve Scheetz, I want to fix this problem in our community. And that's pretty much how it has to be with everybody. As chairman of the Montgomery County Libertarians, I'm there to facilitate meetings, and more or less, that's something that I don't even really have a whole lot of control in when the meeting gets started. When the meeting gets started, I'm in a group of peers. And everybody has, like Jim said, everybody has ideas. And everybody has things that they want to do. And pretty much as the agenda goes along, it takes a life of its own. It takes a mind of its own. And as a chair, it's just my job to sort of nudge it here, nudge it there, so that at the end of the agenda, we wind up going to Bigatoways and having some beer at a reasonable hour. Any other questions? Manuel?
I just wanted to clarify something. The situation in York, you summarized it basically and premise correctly, but there was no open carry, and what it was a gun-free zone that was being imposed in a building that housed municipal meetings. And all we did was notify the Borough Council and its solicitor's office that that's a violation of the Uniform Firearms Act. And quite simply, we petitioned the government for a redress of our grievances. They unanimously agreed. They were very accommodating, so there was no open display of firearms in that case. It didn't necessitate that level of agitation. So it wasn't necessarily an open carry issue, but it was a Second Amendment issue. So it was a case where we had cooperation with government, so you can have an influence. You can see change.
I would really love it if you could just sort of mention that on the camera, on the microphone. Only because I can't really.
Okay, it's too much to summarize. I got you.
I can't really summarize that. I know you didn't want to speak today, but
I talk a mile a minute anyway.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Manuel Gomez. I'm with the York County Libertarian Party, and I will be running in 2013 City Council.
Yeah.
We bring the good stuff. But basically what happened was the local government there in Stewartstown, which is in your county, imposed a gun-free zone in a building which houses our municipal meetings. So once we discovered the situation, we basically just petitioned the government for a redress of grievances. They actually obliged. They were actually very accommodating and receptive. So I just wanted to make clear there was no open display of firearms or nothing like that. It didn't necessitate that level of agitation in this case. But it was a successful abolition of a gun-free zone, despite all the media sensationalism and everything you see, the timing with Newtown. None of that affected or colored the advocacy that we carried out in Stewartstown. And I'm proud to say that that's an example of some libertarian solutions to real-world problems. But that's also a form of direct action. We petitioned the government, they responded, so it can be done. And I just wanted to clarify that.
you gotta love that.
Yep.
I love that. I mean, to quote a Jewish word, or a, I guess the word is chutzpah. Good stuff. Really good stuff. So are there any more questions? Then I return control of the meeting to Ken.
Thank you, Steve.